everybody. Hope your festival's been going well so far. How's it been going? Good? Yeah? Are we in flow now? We all warmed up and in flow. Okay, so my name's Oz. I am the co-founder of Trust Your Creative, and this is Susan, also the co-founder of Trust Your Creative. I'm 25 years advertising Planex, advertising agency, strategic planner, and Susan?
26 years fashion designer in the fashion industry. However, we've
shifted gear. We now support some of the world's leading creatives, helping them really step into their creative power by overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome. We've had the absolute privilege and honor to work with some of the biggest leaders, working in organizations like Louis Vuitton, Yves Saint Laurent, as well as many others like Nike. Now, I want to just start by asking you whether you know what imposter syndrome is. Who here knows the definition of imposter syndrome, would like to share? Would you like to share? Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
So.
So basically it means I've got all the accomplishments, I went and got all the certificates, but I still feel I shouldn't be here in this room full of incredible people. And no matter how many times people keep telling me I should be here and I am worthy and deserve enough to be here, I think I'm just a fake and a fraud, and they're gonna find out.
Yes, it's a punitive voice in our heads that lets us sit in shame sometimes and perfectionism. So I want you all now to just get into your bodies. We heard earlier of the importance of creative community, and I want you to all just stand up with me for a moment. If you have ever experienced imposter syndrome, I want you to remain standing. The rest of you sit down. Okay, if you've ever experienced imposter syndrome, you just see, in the last year, I want you to remain standing, and the rest of you sit down. If you've ever experienced it in the last week, okay, in the last day, experienced it today. Right.
Wow.
So if you've ever thought, everyone sit down, thank you so much. So if you've ever thought that you don't belong in the room, you get to change that thinking right now, right here, today. And we're going to take you on the journey of how you can do that. Because you are not broken, you are just highly ambitious. And we're going to take you on a journey of getting you from that place of creative doubt into your creative power.
Yeah, so the truth is, our industry is built on visibility, but nobody teaches us how to be seen without second-guessing ourselves. Imposter syndrome and self-doubt, they're actually not a flaw, because they're actually a sign of growth. But let it drive your creativity, and it could take your career off the path. So, what's the real question? What's the reason why some of you meant to be in this room today? How can I deal with my creative...
Hold on, it's going too fast. Sorry. I just love that. Okay, so my imposter's definitely showing up right now.
We're fine though, we're fine with it. How can I deal with creative anxiety? Oh my God, the one that tells you, that little voice in your head, who am I to create? Who am I to think I can do that project? The one that tells you you need to be perfect at all costs. The anxiety that stops you from taking those risks and discovering your stroke of genius that often derives from spontaneity and free-flowing creativity. Well, we're here to silence that voice today. Now, if those questions haunted you, I want you to know you're not alone, because 87% of creatives experience imposter syndrome, yeah? And that's not just you in this room. Our very best creatives, our award-winning, they ain't rookies, creative leaders have a voice inside their head that tells them that they're not good enough, and here they are now.
I think I had a low-level burning fear, like an anxiety, like a smoldering anxiety. It wasn't spiking into, huge panic attacks or anything like that, but there was a smoldering self-doubt that was almost eroding me from the inside.
I don't feel at home in like a room full of important people, or speaking at a table of important people in an important moment. I'm like, even when I do have something to say, and when I'm the one, like now in my job, and I was in a pitch last week, and after the presentation, the clients directed all the questions to me as the executive creative director, and I was like, why are they asking me? Well, and like, I had all the answers. I've been doing this for 20 years. And I knew that the work inside out, and I was very happy talking about it. But still, I was going, well, why would they ask me the questions? Why aren't they asking the smart people at the other end of the table?
I just felt like I didn't fit in, or someone knew something more than me, or someone used a term that I didn't know, or I didn't even know what a planner was until I was a head of art. And then I was sort of like, what are these amazing people who just like sit and do research? Oh, that's a whole job. So yeah, there have been a ton of moments throughout my career where I've just gone, oh my God, can I do this? Or am I doing it right?
Everyone suffers from it. Sometimes I think I suffer from self-doubt when I'm trying. I think when you're a big dreamer and you have moments of not clarity. So I think when I have clarity, I don't have imposter syndrome. When I don't have clarity, that's when the unknown happens. And then I go, oh, is this going to happen?
It was at the beginning of my freelance career when I was still trying to discover who I was, and I would have this fear that I wouldn't be good enough.
I think what's interesting about imposter syndrome is the fact that everybody, I think, is an imposter. So what we should probably be asking yourself is, what is normality syndrome?
Everyone has those feelings. I think they get expressed in different ways for different people. And I think there's more kind of cultural pressure on women because of a load of other things as well, like wanting to be liked and, just kind of societal pressure, which kind of makes it rise to the fore. But I think everyone has these feelings.
And yeah, I mean, there is, just imagine how much good stuff there is, like hidden in people's notebooks that they're just afraid to bring you and talk about. Yeah, it could change everything.
Yep, it certainly could. Who would have imagined these incredible leaders sharing so vulnerably and experiencing imposter syndrome to this degree? Now, the reality is that when our mind is overactive, it really hinders our creativity. As Theodore Rothko said, he's a writer, poet, American poet, who talks a lot about human behavior. A mind too active is no mind at all. Because when your mind is overactive, there's no space. There's no room and space for creativity. So when you wake up in the morning and you get to work and your head is just ruminating about the things that you haven't sorted out in the morning, like the things like, oh, did I feed the cat? And, there was a dent on the car door, and why did my boss look at me with that look? What does that mean? That shit really eddies away at your psychology. And the reality is that we, as creatives, have a very punitive voice that puts us into a perfectionist mode. And so whatever we do, we're criticizing. We're our worst, most internal critic. And we'll be doing our creative, and it's never good enough for us. And we'll be saying, God, I can't come up with that. I've got a blank piece. How am I going to do that? How is that really any different to anything that's ever been before? Look, you can't even fucking smell the copy. Like, the whole thing becomes really punitive, and it holds us back. And what's really critical is that when you silence your power, it's not just you that loses out. Creatives have a really important role in today's world. When you lose your creative power, So does the industry, so does the world, because you're not coming in as the imposter, you're not coming in as a disruptor with great ideas, because the reality is we don't need any more bags going down Paris or funerals for Duolingo or fictitious characters, any more greenwashing. We need you to come in to be the disruptor. Creatives get to come in and be the disruptor that the world needs, because with every stroke of your genius, you are telling people what to feel. You are telling people what to fear, who belongs, who doesn't. You are shaping culture. So when the client comes in with the creative brief, you can be the one to come and rip that brief up. You don't have to just apply the brief. You are the person who has the opportunity to come in and disrupt that. So you don't get to be lazy. You don't get to sit there and just apply conventional knowledge. You get to go in there and really disrupt that brief. And you have this. You've got what it takes. You can come in, because if you get lazy and copy gets lazy and creative ideas start creating brands that are soulless, innovation dies and culture doesn't become what it could be. And we're on a mission to help 1 million creatives around the world really step into their creative power by harnessing that imposter syndrome. We do that through keynotes and talks and a program. And we've had the opportunity to coach about 300 professionals around the world with a world-class score. This isn't just about you and your imposter syndrome in your career. If you're a creative leader, it is about not being able to unlock the investment in your human capital as an organization as well. And this is what our creative leaders have to say about how we get to step into our creative voice.
We often suffer from procrastination, paralyzation, perfectionism, and you don't get anything done. Sometimes you just need to go out there and just give it a go.
The first thing I would say to people, when you're feeling like an imposter, you might be an imposter in the sense that you're not feeling whole or that you can do the job, but you're not an imposter because nobody has taught you how to do this thing in the first place.
The more that you can work with really great people around you, the imposter syndrome, I feel, is mitigated because you are stepping into the unknown with people who can facilitate and help you and help color in things.
I think the other thing I've put to my advantage is I guess just trying to switch, focusing on just the negatives and the things that I can't do, to really focusing on the things that I do well. So, and that again, that comes with a sense of humility, right? Which is, it's not necessarily confidence, it's not necessarily imposter syndrome, but it's like a genuine understanding of what you're best at doing and how you can build a team around you to do better.
I would say, maybe you have imposter syndrome, maybe you don't. You probably do. and it's okay. Because it's fine. It's not, I feel like it's a thing that, you can address and you can put it to one side. Maybe you can get rid of it altogether. I'm sure you can, but actually it's okay. Just being aware you have it is huge, because then you can go, okay, it's not that I'm not good enough. I just have imposter syndrome telling me I'm not good enough. And actually in this job, especially, like there are all these techniques to get you out of whatever hole like you feel like you're in. Like the imposter syndrome that I used to get when I was like, I will never come up with a good answer to this brief, I'm not good enough. It's like, that's fine. It's just about reps. It really is just reps. It's like, oh, you don't have a brilliant headline or a brilliant idea for an ad for this brief. That's fine. You have to write 100. Write 100 ideas and you'll have a good one.
So it's about having that faith and the understanding that trusting your gut and your creative and your idea is going to come into fruition, and it is needed to be put out in the world.
So try and allow yourself to be the most authentic version, and that also means failing. I think sometimes in failure you use a lot more creativity to create beautiful results.
Cultivate your own voice. I think when you're younger, you're trying to emulate many people's voices because you're trying to find your own voice. But what the real life hack in life is that anyone that is successful in any field is doing themselves. And the more you be yourself, the more you will succeed, because that is the thing that makes you different.
You can be the best creative director in the world, but not be the best person at crafting in those particular areas. So it's like going, who do I need on my team? Who is going to be the very best person? And not to be scared of the fact that you are going to bring someone in who's going to be better than you. And I think that's where maybe ego gets in the way of really using that kind of self-doubt to your advantage.
Like the seats around the edge of the room or the standing space at the back, well, that's for the people who are late. They can stand at the back. Like if you're invited to the meeting, sit at the table.
And not all projects are the same, but once you've got a truth that you can sort of speak to, that's when the imposter syndrome disappears, isn't it?
Wow, what good advice from like our biggest creative leaders here. Thank you for them for being so honest. So, how can you be at the table if your inner critic's telling you you shouldn't be there? In fact, it's probably telling you you shouldn't even be in the room. Because creative performance is potential minus interference. And that's the interference internally, in your mind, and externally, from the people that are around you, society, and the world at large. All of this can take you off kilter. So, what's the actual cost to the creative? Well, procrastination. Oh my God, overthinking your work that you can't even start the bloody project. The fear of exposure, the fear that the people are going to find you out and they're going to prevent you from even sharing your work. Difficulty actually celebrating your success. Reluctant to take those risks. Again, avoiding those new techniques. Burnout. That constant striving for perfection. It just burns you out. Self-sabotage. Oh my God, don't us as creatives, we're so good at sabotaging ourselves. And perfectionism, there's that word again. The inner critic often drives perfectionism. We're trying to work harder than anyone else because we believe we're not good enough, so we have to work even harder, and it's an unattainable goal. So, it's not just our internal world at large, it's our external. And we know this because we interviewed, as part of a research report that we did last year, Oz and I, we interviewed over 65 creative leaders, the cost of imposter syndrome and self-doubt on creativity. And we were told they want you to feel not good enough. They want you to work harder. And only perfection is the standard that they want.
I mean, when we started the study, we started it because we wanted to know why everybody was kind of talking around it and not talking into it. We also wanted to break the echo chamber that was happening on LinkedIn, almost like self-bragging around, I've got imposter syndrome, but look how far I've come. No one was doing anything about it. No one was talking openly, vulnerably about the impact it has on creativity and on commercial performance as well. We sent off a few emails. We're like, let's just speak to the leaders who we know are coming to us and talking about it. And we were inundated. Inundated. Like, literally, the email would go out, and within minutes, we'd get emails coming to us from the rest of the agency. Like, the CEO would email us, then the creative director would email us, and it ended up being one of the biggest qualitative studies ever done. That's what we're really famous for. 65 creatives. We had about 5,000 hours of transcripts that we went through. So the work we're doing is like building in neuroscience, which we're going to go into in a minute, together with psychology, because we're coaches of 20 years, and bringing in these real-life testimonials from our leaders and real-time data, qualitative and quantitative. I think we've read every single report that's ever been done on the subject, and we work with Warwick University.
So as part of the report, I had the pleasure of going to interview the creative director at one of the biggest fashion luxury houses in Paris. Can't tell you who it is, but it was one of the biggest three, maybe. And I was literally taken up into their design studio, and the creative director had one of those glass offices, you know, and I sat down and I started talking about my research on imposter syndrome, and they stood up and they put all the blinds down in their office so that nobody could see in. And they went, you see, the trouble is, Susan, they want you to feel not good enough, okay? Only perfection can do. And we also know this because we interviewed Francesca Burns, who's the ex-stylist at Vogue, Love, and ID magazine. And she said, I had a breakdown, total burnout. In a world where busyness is a barometer for success, my anxiety and imposter syndrome was so out of control, I couldn't sleep. I'd be waking up with panic attacks, this sense of utter failure with every job I did. And then we spoke to Sarah Rutson. She's the former vice president of global buying at Net-a-Porter. She said creatives were often picked by men in grey suits, and women, I'm not going to be, you know, there were women too, like a scab that wouldn't heal.
And it is culture and society that's also triggering it, okay? It's not inclusive, it's not diverse, we know that. We know white elitism, prestige education, your social background, whether you're male, female, your gender, all has a bearing on whether you get a place at the table. I know because I think I probably interviewed and lost out in the final round for a role as a strategic planner in a big network agency. I think I lost about 14 roles to somebody who was from Oxbridge and that was male back in the day. I'm hoping it's quite different now. But we know that only 11.4% of all jobs in the creative industries in the UK are filled by Black, Asian and minority groups. For the UK's creative industry, I mean, this data actually blows my mind every time I say it. For it to be socioeconomically representative of the whole country, guess how many people we'd need to recruit? 250,000. We know that prestige education, we spoke to some of the biggest recruiters. They are so frustrated because they know that if the person that they're putting forward as a candidate has come from a prestige educational background, they get preference. We know that 75% of those from lower socioeconomic class say that they just feel out of place, more often than not. And it's not a female phenomenon. So I'm also the co-founder of one of the biggest female founder networks in the UK, and I work a lot with female founders. Men and women experience it equally. 49% men, 51% females. And we just deal with it differently. Men tend to put up a bit of a mask and they will deal with it in a different way. Sometimes they project outwards. We internalize it. We make it our story. So we've got to understand what's happening in and around us and know that it's not us. It's just us being us in the sense of your personal difference. And Miranda Hipwell, CEO of Adam and Eve, said it perfectly. She said, I felt like an imposter at points. And she said there's like a turning point where she realized in her career that it was just because of who she was. It was her personal difference, female, her background, educational background. And so she says, if you have a different gender, ethnicity, and background, you can just simply feel like an outsider. And I don't know if there are any leaders in the room today, but if you're questioning whether this is a commercial issue and whether it is your responsibility to take some action, it is, because the financial impact on the organization of imposter syndrome is so proven and so large, deep and long term. It has a direct impact on creative output, so it reduces risk-taking. It puts people into a place of not wanting to disrupt, not wanting to innovate. It also has a massive impact on cultural health. People start to get disengaged. They experience anxiety to the point where they feel burnout. And we know the cost of burnout to the UK is 300 billion, 2 trillion to the US. Every 1 in 2 people who experience burnout claim they experience imposter syndrome. So you can say that it contributes to 50% of burnout costs. The list is long. The whole thing is in the report. I'm not going to bore you with the data, but there are absolute concrete numbers that back up all of this. Enough of data.
Yeah, let's meet the imposter.
What does
oh my God, there are a few of them in the room.
What does your imposter sound like? Does it sound anything like this? Oh, come on, clicker. Is it going to play? Yes.
Look, we gotta ride together. If you don't sit on the back and hold on to the front, the whole thing falls apart.
Oh, and who's holding the ramp?
The turtle. Come on, it's faster than he looks.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
You coming?
Nope, I can't do it. Never in a million years.
Hey. I know your problem. You got a Bruno in your head.
A Bruno.
Yeah, I get one too sometimes. Alberto, you can't. Alberto, you're gonna die. Alberto, don't put that in your mouth. Luca, it's simple. Don't listen to stupid Bruno.
Why is his name Bruno?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Call him whatever you want. Shut him up. Say, Silenzio Bruno.
Silenzio Bruno.
Louder. Silenzio Bruno.
Silenzio Bruno.
Silenzio Bruno.
Silenzio Bruno.
Can you still hear him?
Nope, just you.
Good. Now hang on. Andiamo!
Silenzio Bruno, Silenzio Bruno, Silenzio Bruno, Silenzio Bruno.
Yeah!
Yes! We're alive! I can't believe it!
Take that, Bruno!
Yes!
Take that, Bruno.
How do we silencio it? How do we silencio the imposter? Okay, I think it's time you meet mine. Guess who's mine? Mary fucking Poppins. Yeah, you're not
Mary
surprised. That
Poppins.
was I'm not that surprised kind of laugh. Anyway, it's all good. So yeah, Mary Poppins, she's got this bag of tricks, right? She pulls out and she wants nothing but the best from me at all times. She's an absolute anal perfectionist. She's exhausting.
Mine's Samuel the Scorpion. I mean, it's had its claws around my neck for over 30 years, paralysing me and my creativity. Mine's Samuel. So,
How do we put them in the box?
How
have
we
we put them, our imposters
put them in the box, get out the way. Well, do you know what we need to do? We need to break the pattern and play a new record, yeah? Break that pattern. So Samuel literally took up residence in my entire body and my brain for over 30 years because I allowed it to. It literally camped there for years with all of its sabotaging shit it used to throw at me, and I believed every single word of it. So much so that it became hardwired. I didn't even know I was playing the old record. However, we can change this because our brain is hardwired, but we can also rewire it through neuroplasticity. And this is where the neuroscience come in, because neuroplasticity is like the brain's plasticity. It can change, it can rewire, and it can bend. So this can be done structurally, where literally new neurons rewire together, or it can be done functionally, where we learn, which comes through our learning new things, even from injury and even through trauma. So what's good is that through neuroplasticity, our brain ain't fixed, and we can change it through our thoughts, what we feel, and what we want to focus on. And this is it under a microscope. This is an actual neuron.
What you're looking at here are two
rewiring.
neurons under the microscope that I've filmed. And if you wait really patiently, you'll be able to see them connecting to one another.
So it's just going to happen. So this is it. This is how rewiring works. There we go.
And it can happen at any age.
Happen at any age. So even the old guys and women, it can happen at any age. So a thought, a negative thought that we keep repeating turns into a negative belief that turns into a negative behavior that becomes habitual. So that negative thought that you've had in your subconscious, mine for years, that we play out, for me, every single morning, it's habitual. Don't even know I've been doing it. I've allowed it. But it doesn't mean it's the truth. So, a scenario here. A thought, negative thought, this workshop today is going to be an absolute disaster. Thought turns into a negative belief. Everyone in the room's waiting for me to mess up. Everyone's thinking, who the hell's she? Negative belief. Drives a negative behaviour. I'm just going to play it small. I'm just going to play it small. I'm not worthy enough to be here. Plays out, it's habitual. So every time that one goes and repeats that thing, just goes around and around in this negative loop. In fact, we call it going down the rabbit hole of rumination.
It also becomes your self-identity, because then you go, well, that's who I am then. And then the loop comes back.
Yeah. So
Full
we're
circle.
in this rabbit hole, and all the old negative beliefs keep coming in and getting heavier and heavier. And how long can we spend in that rabbit hole? Now, negative beliefs can actually stem from your childhood. It can be a fleeting comment that maybe a teacher said, but oh my God, don't we unknowingly drag it through our childhood into our adulthood? And if it's gone unprocessed, it stays with us. So this is William Dorr. We work with him. He's a neuroscientist, and he has spent decades working on the insights of the human brain.
And if you're a very creative person, the probability is that from an early age, you've had a trauma, and that trauma has created triggers, and those triggers can create cortisol, which wipes out the part of the brain. So you're likely to be a bit more anxious than average, a bit more anxious than what you would like. So you'll be highly creative at some things, but in other situations you'll have anxiety and you'll have imposter syndrome. So dealing with the neurological there is a great foundation to change the way you feel about yourself. And on top of that, you can build in deliberate practices of associating the successes, the good situations you have, with your whole brain's ability to create chemicals. And you'll end up pumping more of the positive chemicals just when you need them.
Yeah, and we heard Niels Leonard last night talk about how you get to do that, how you get to bring all the great stuff that you've done forward in every step of your creative career. Now, what we do is help you actually on that journey. We call it a creative awakening. And by the way, trauma, if anyone of you have heard the word trauma and are already traumatized, I just want to reframe that for a second. Trauma, all it is unprocessed emotion. Okay, so we also get to flip the script on that. Doesn't mean being caught up in a bomb, which did actually happen to me. But it actually means just something someone said or an experience you had created a feeling and you didn't process it. You didn't really understand, you didn't work with it. So that's all that is. And we help you on this journey of a creative awakening where we help you go from the person that you've been to the person that you get to become, the person that you know you're becoming but can't quite make the leap, because that inner self-belief, that inner self-trust isn't there. We work with this amazing artist who, for her, it was a very inward journey. And this is her artistic depiction of the journey that she went on with us. And it's different for everybody. We call imposter syndrome actually a bit like a virus that wreaks havoc in your organization. And we call this the antidote. And all we're doing is, honestly, it's not science, I would say. It's
rocket science.
It's not rocket science, that's it. But there is a science to it. And it's a very linear, easy process where we're taking you from awareness, where you're getting to understand and recognize those patterns, accept it, name it, call it out, have contact with it, start to integrate it. Because we've got news for you, imposter syndrome is going nowhere. Your inner critic is going nowhere. You have to work with it. That's why we harness it and we allow you to be in the driving seat. We allow you to take control back. And that's when that creative awakening happens and you say, actually, I'm in the driving seat of my life and I'm going to work with my imposter. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And that's when the trust starts to really come in and you know your own voice, what you stand for, the impact that you want to make, what change you want to see in the world, and how you get to make it and always be the the fearless one that's coming in as the rebel. A lot of last night's conversation was about that. And that's when you start to get really courageous. That's when you start to do really bold things. And then you're just in creative flow, completely in wonder and in curiosity of what's next and what's possible. So if we can let you leave the room with just 1% of that creative awakening, then for us, that's joy. So we're going to give you one golden ingredient today.
The real good little nugget.
The one that can just get you into control right now, leaving this room, so the rest of your day you are showing up in your confidence that comes from a deeper level of self-belief, so you can network your pants off. Because what we really want you to do is stay out of the maladaptive zone, okay? If you keep your imposter in the healthy zone, then you've got an edge. You go in the healthy edge, because let's face it, if I had a lot of ego, I'm not really going to be successful, am I? So my doubt helps me keep my ego in check. But if I let it take control, I'm going to be paralyzed. I'm going to procrastinate. My perfectionism, I mean, thanks to Mary Poppins, I have an attention to detail. You know, quality, excellence over perfection. She helps me stay in my excellence. And she's not on the stage though, right? She's backstage. She's not on the stage. If she was on the stage, she'd be criticizing me. She'd be saying, nothing's not good enough. You should have done that. You could have done that. Why didn't you do that? Look at their faces. They didn't say. All that noise would come back in. So we want to help you keep your imposter in its healthy zone so that it's working with you, not against you. And we're going to do that by letting you know the difference between the story you're playing out in your head and give it a fact. You know, give that story the truth so that you're operating from your truth. And we're going to help you make that shift.
So how do we do it? Well, we do it with your me file. And it's your file, the big fat file, I've got one, that actually tells your inner critic the truth, that you are good enough, because you've got all the evidence in that file to tell it, okay? All your accomplishments, all your accolades, all those lovely emails from your clients that tell you you've done an amazing job, anything that breaks that pattern that we've got that tells your inner critic the truth. Because your inner critic has been telling you lies for so long, and what you tell your brain, it truly believes. Yeah. So you need to start telling it that you are good enough, okay? Then it's going to start believing it. So what I want you to do is collate all of your best things to put into your me file, okay? Then that way, the next time your inner critic goes, I'm here, I want you to go, well, thanks for being here. However, I want you to know that's not true. So the next time, okay, scenario, it goes, your boss comes home and says, I've given you this project to do. And you might go, oh my God, who's not turned up? Who's gone on their lunch break and they've given me this project to do? Do they not know I'm not good enough? Okay. Sarah could have done it. Why have they chosen me? Oh my God. And you're getting into that hole of rumination. You can go, no, I'm doing it because I am good enough, okay? And that's what your me file's there to do. Yeah. Now, you have to keep repeating it. You have to keep doing it all the time so you get those neurons, so it becomes a habit. And then, this is one of our clients, Sophie. She has her me file. This is Sophie, her there, who's got absolutely no courage when it comes to her work as an interior designer. But she's jumped out of a plane 74 times. She's put that in her me file, so she can literally tell it, I've got plenty of courage. Now, I've got a me file too, and this is mine. Oh my God, I've got an email from George, the governor at the cinematographers, the governor of basically the TV Academy in LA, because we done a keynote out there, Oz and I. We done a keynote, he's telling us how good we are. It wasn't Louis Vuitton who I went to for that thing, but I have a Louis Vuitton visitor's card. That's me at Cannes a couple of weeks ago, just about to do a workshop. And that's me on my bike racing. Why? Because I can throw that at my inner critic. Oz, have you got one?
Yeah, so every time I get a brief from a client, if I'm doing strategy work, I remind myself of a CNN international vice president who said, if I was ever losing 1 million, I would bring Ozam in to turn my business around. So no business problem is hairy for me. Because I just throw it at and I go, look, anything, you can take on anything. Look what you can do. And that was because I was helping them set up CNN once upon a time. A campaign for Emirates. So at the time, St. Luke's had won the pitch with Keep Discovering. I was working for one of the, I would say, like mid-size agencies, and I was a strategic planner then. The client wasn't happy. The pitch got put up for pitch again. We won the campaign, and it was my strategy. And I was like, oh my God, St. Luke's. I just won a piece of work from St. Luke's. And they were like, God, like Mother and St. Luke's days, if any of you know. My daughter, who's 16, she's a footballer. I remind myself that anything is possible because she's had incredible transformations. First podcast that went viral, and me dancing in heels. Well, usually with those 10 years my junior, and I'll tell you what, Mary Poppins really gets into a box when I do that. And that, all of that plays such a big role. And I think we've got Cezanne, who's just been through one of our programs. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to say a few words about what it was like? Yeah. 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 And do you want to just say what you do as well? Because you had your own company and then you use this process to and come into your personal brand. Yeah. But
one thing that we haven't mentioned, I forgot, is who feels icky when they're actually looking at stuff that praises them. I mean, who goes, I cannot look at my me file. That feels really uncomfortable. You need to sit with it.
Yeah, and
you need to really sit with it.
It doesn't have to be an industry award because that gain is you searching for external validation. And the reason why your poetry felt icky was because there was no system up until now. The education system didn't grade you on it. It didn't tell you it was good. It's subjective. Yeah.
So this is Drew. Okay, Drew is a New York dude. He came to us because he spent lots of years in the top ad agencies in New York, but he actually wanted to go and study product design. So he came to us because he said, how can I go and study product design? You know, I've got this thing telling me that I shouldn't. He applied for the top 5 colleges in the world, and with us, he done something amazing with his me file. He created a timeline that he put in front of his portfolio, ready for his interviews, that he called Drew's Truth. And basically, instead of it being like a CV, he done like this creative timeline where he literally described all of his achievements and what that meant to him, okay? He was really creative with it. He got into all 5 colleges. Art Centre, Central St. Martin's literally said, you're in the interview, which is unheard of, but he actually accepted the Royal College of Art. So Drew done the work, he sat in the ickiness, and he produced that work with pride. And lastly, good old Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
For sharing this.
The best accounts, I've won every creative award you can think of, and yet it's still there. But I am able to say to myself, oh, hey, you made this really good thing one time, or you won this pitch, or you won that little gold trophy. And that's, I still every day I do that to myself. I will look at, like I'll look at my own website and go, oh no, it's okay. You did all this stuff. You were involved in all this stuff. You're able to make things. You will, you will get through this period.
So, thanks, Mark. I mean, oh my God. So, what would you put in your me file? In fact, I forgot to tell you my last one. I got a tattoo that says no. It's the only tattoo I've got. No to my inner critic. So what tattoo would you put on your arm? Is there anyone here right now that would just like to tell me one thing that they would put in their me file? Who's got the confidence? I'd love to know about it. Just one thing. Anyone, stand up and tell me what that would be. Go on, what would it be? Yeah, absolutely.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucia. I would put that when I was 15, I launched a platform that connects creators, and I've been doing events and curating cool things ever since that age.
Amazing. And why would you put it in there?
Hold on, I can't hear her. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Lucia Ide. Yeah, I would say I run a platform called The Connect, and its journey started when I was about 15 years old. I'm 23 now, and between 2017 and 2019 was a very pivotal part of my journey. And I'd put that in my file because it's crazy for a 15-year-old to go up to venues and like bargain with them to get their prices down and produce these really cool events, getting young people together. So yeah, I'd put that in, especially because I know one of my biggest things is that I want to make an impact and be effective in people's lives. And I think that started when I was 15 years old.
Wow, and that's why it's there, and that's what you need to tell it. Thank you so much for letting us know this.
So, you get to break that story in your head, and you're incredibly creative, so you're going to be very good at writing that story, yeah? But we get to give it truth. We get to fire the right neurons. Neurons that fire together, wired together. Every single thought is creating every single feeling that's driving your behavior, taking you into action. You have control over your mind, so give it the facts. The me file is the facts. If you're about to go into a meeting and you're nervous, open it up. Remind yourself.
Have it on your phone.
Just what's possible. It can happen at any age. Any age. We've seen miracles happen. And just remember to stay in the healthy zone, because it's not going to go away. Don't stamp it out. If I tell Mary to fuck off, she comes back stronger. No. Work with her. Okay, Mary, what do you want me to do? Well, the kitchen isn't done. You're sitting here doing the work. You're about to present, and that kitchen's full of, like, dishes. I go, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll go and do it, come back. Done. She's got, throw them a bone, keep it in the healthy edge. And then finally, you really do get to trust. If you don't trust, you can't disrupt. You can't be the rebel. You can't do all of the things our incredible leaders are advising you to do. Apply all those facts and tactics and hacks. You won't be able to do it. You've got to come from a place of inner, grounded self-belief and self-trust. So go out, trust in your creative, because we already do, and go and network and go and build those relationships.
Tell them.
Go and tell them how great you are. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.